After 12 years at the same company, my boss called me into his office and told me they were restructuring. Translation: they found someone younger and cheaper to do my job. But here's the kicker. They wanted me to train him before I left. Spent 2 full weeks teaching my replacement everything I knew. So I did exactly that. I taught him everything. Every process, every shortcut, every technique, and every single difficult, stubborn, boundary-setting habit that had made me challenging to manage. 6 months later, my old boss called me, desperate. Please come back. We made a mistake. This is the story of how I created a monster, and my boss had to live with it. My name's Jake, and I've been working as a senior technical support specialist at Data Core Systems for 12 years. I was the guy who fixed the unfixable. When a client had a critical system failure at 2 a.m., they called me. When a problem stumped everyone else, it landed on my desk. I knew our products inside and out, not just because I'd been there forever, but because I actually gave a damn. I was good at my job. Really good. But I'll admit, I wasn't the easiest employee to manage. I had, let's call them, boundaries. My reputation included, I didn't work weekends unless it was a genuine emergency, and I decided what counted as an emergency. I refused to take calls during my lunch break. I literally silenced my phone. I wouldn't sugarcoat bad news to clients or management. I documented everything in writing. CYA, cover your ass. I called out bad ideas in meetings, regardless of who proposed them. I demanded proper compensation for after-hours work. I said no when requests were unreasonable. Was it difficult? Depends on your perspective. Was I valuable? Absolutely. My client satisfaction rating was 96%. My problem resolution rate was the highest in the department. But to management, I was expensive and not a team player. Things started changing about 18 months before I got replaced. DataCore got a new VP of operations. Let's call him Mark. Mark was one of those MBA types who thought everything could be optimized with spreadsheets and efficiency metrics. He looked at my salary, $95,000 after 12 years, which was fair for my experience level, and saw a cost optimization opportunity. Never mind that I was carrying the department. Never mind that I trained every new hire. Never mind that I was the go-to person for the hardest problems. It was expensive. And Mark didn't value experience. He valued profit margins. I started noticing things. My workload increased, but my raises stopped. Management started tracking metrics that made me look less productive, like ticket volume, ignoring that I handled the complex cases. They hired junior techs at $45,000 instead of experienced ones. Mark made comments about doing more with less. I knew what was coming. I'd seen this play out at other companies. They were going to replace me. On a Tuesday morning, Mark called me into his office. Jake, have a seat. I want to talk about your future here. Nothing good ever starts with your future here. We've been evaluating our staffing structure, Mark continued, and we've decided to restructure the technical support department. Restructure how? We're moving toward a tiered support model. Junior techs will handle Tier 1 and 2 issues. We'll keep a smaller team of senior specialists for Tier 3. Okay, where do I fit in that? Mark shifted uncomfortably. Unfortunately, your position is being eliminated. We're bringing in new talent at a different compensation structure. There it was, eliminated, after 12 years. So I'm being fired. Not fired. Laid off. It's a business decision, nothing personal. We're offering a severance package, 2 months pay plus your accrued vacation time. 2 months, after 12 years. Generous. When? Your last day will be 4 weeks from now. Which brings me to the other thing. We've hired your replacement. His name is Tyler. He's got a computer science degree and 2 years of help desk experience. But he doesn't know our systems yet. You want me to train him? Exactly. We need you to spend the next 2 weeks getting Tyler up to speed on everything you do. All your processes, all your knowledge, everything he'll need to succeed. I stared at Mark. The audacity. You want me to train the person replacing me, the person who's being paid less to do my job. I know it's not ideal, but it's part of your severance agreement. If you refuse, we'll terminate you immediately with no severance. So my choices were, train my replacement and get 2 months' pay, or refuse and get nothing. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Fine, I said. I'll train Tyler. I'll teach him everything I know. Mark smiled, relieved. Thank you, Jake. This is the professional thing to do. Oh, don't worry. I'll be very thorough. The smile I gave him should have been a warning. Tyler started on Monday. He was 24 years old, fresh-faced, eager, and completely out of his depth. He had a degree and 2 years' experience, which turned out to be 2 years doing password resets at a university help desk. He seemed like a nice enough kid. Not his fault he was a pawn in a cost-cutting scheme. Mark introduced us. Tyler, this is Jake. He's going to train you for the next 2 weeks. Jake, Tyler will be shadowing you and learning your workflow. Great, I said, shaking Tyler's hand. Welcome to DataCore. I'm going to teach you everything. Tyler looked nervous. Thanks, man. I know these are big shoes to fill. Don't worry, I said. By the time I'm done with you, you'll be doing this job exactly like I do. That first day, I took Tyler out to lunch. Look, I said, I'm going to be straight with you. Management is replacing me with you because you're cheaper. That's just business. I don't hold it against you. Tyler looked uncomfortable. I didn't know you were being let go when I took the job. I believe you. But here's the thing. They're expecting you to do the same job I do, with 12 years less experience, for half the pay. They're setting you up to fail. What do? You learn everything you can in the next 2 weeks, and I mean everything, not just the technical stuff, but how to survive in this environment. Tyler nodded eagerly. I'm ready to learn. Oh, you have no idea what you're going to learn, I thought. For the next 2 weeks, I was the most thorough trainer in corporate history. Week 1, technical training. I taught Tyler our systems inside and out, how our software worked, common problems and solutions, troubleshooting methodology, client database navigation, documentation procedures. Tyler was a quick learner technically. He picked up the basics fast, but I didn't just teach him the basics. Day 3, the proper documentation method. Tyler, see how I'm documenting this ticket? I write everything down. Every step, every conversation, every decision, and why I made it. That seems like a lot of extra work. It is. But here's why you do it. When something goes wrong and management tries to blame you, you have written proof of exactly what happened and what you were told to do. Never trust that anyone will remember conversations correctly. Always get it in writing. I showed him my email folders, organized by project, by client, by date. Thousands of saved emails. This is CYA, cover your ass. Management will throw you under the bus to save themselves. Don't let them. Tyler started taking notes. Day 4, Boundary Setting 101. A client called at 12:15 p.m., right in the middle of my lunch break. My phone rang. I looked at it. Then I looked at Tyler. Aren't you going to answer that? Tyler asked. Nope. It's my lunch break. But it could be important. Tyler, let me teach you something crucial. If you answer the phone during your lunch break once, clients will expect it every time. You train them that you're always available, and you'll never have a moment of peace. But what if it's an emergency? If it's a real emergency, they'll call the emergency line and someone else will handle it. Your lunch break is your time. Protect it. The phone stopped ringing. Tyler looked nervous. Watch, I said. They'll leave a voicemail or send an email. We'll handle it when lunch is over. They did, and we did. And the problem was not in fact an emergency. See, I said. The sky didn't fall. Day 5, saying no. Mark sent me an email. Jake, can you work this Saturday? We have a system upgrade. Tyler watched as I replied. No, I have plans this weekend. If this is scheduled work, it should be handled during business hours or compensated as overtime at 1.5 times rate per company policy. Tyler's eyes widened. You just said no to the VP. Yeah, it's allowed. You don't have to say yes to everything. But won't he be mad? Probably. But here's the thing. If you say yes to unreasonable requests, they become reasonable expectations. You teach people how to treat you. Mark didn't respond to my email. The upgrade got rescheduled to a weekday with proper overtime compensation for whoever worked it. See, I said to Tyler, standing your ground works. Week 2, advanced training. Week 2 was when I really went all in, managing client expectations. I took Tyler on a client call. The client wanted a custom feature that didn't exist and would take 200 hours to develop. Client, can't you just add this feature? It should be simple. Me, I appreciate that it seems simple from a user perspective, but from a development standpoint, this would require significant back-end changes. We're talking 200+ hours of development time, plus testing and deployment. That's not something I can just add in a support ticket. Client, so you're saying you can't help me? Me, I'm saying I can't do it for free in the next 5 minutes. If you want to talk to sales about a custom development project, I can connect you. But for support purposes, I need to work within the existing system capabilities. After the call, Tyler said, "Wow, you just told him no." I told him the truth. He wanted free custom development. That's not what we do. If you don't set those boundaries, clients will walk all over you and management will blame you when you can't deliver miracles. The art of detailed emails. I showed Tyler my method for responding to vague management requests. Mark sent an email. We need to improve ticket response times. I replied with a 12-paragraph email analyzing current average response times, already excellent. Factors affecting response times, complexity, staffing, tools. Trade-offs between speed and quality. Resource requirements to improve further. Risk analysis of rushing complex issues. Alternative metrics that might be more meaningful. I CC'd everyone relevant. Why did you write such a long email? Tyler asked. Because Mark asked a question without thinking it through. Now he has to actually engage with the complexity of the issue, instead of just making vague demands. Plus, when this comes up again in 6 months, I have written documentation of the real situation. Tyler was furiously taking notes. The Monday morning principle. Tyler, here's a critical rule. Never start new projects or make major changes on Friday afternoon. Why not? Because if something breaks, you're stuck working all weekend to fix it. Always start big stuff on Monday or Tuesday morning. That way, if there are problems, you have the entire week to address them. You have the whole week to address them during business hours. But what if management wants it done Friday? Then you explain the risk and document in writing that you advised against it. When it inevitably blows up over the weekend, you have proof that you warned them. Stakeholder management. I taught Tyler my method for handling conflicting priorities. When two managers both say their project is the highest priority, you do this. Send an email to both of them, CCing their boss, asking them to clarify the priority order. Let them fight it out. Don't let their poor planning become your emergency. Tyler looked shocked. That seems aggressive. It's not aggressive, it's professional. You're asking for clarification because you can't do two things simultaneously. Making you choose is pushing their management failure down to you. Push it back up. The sick day philosophy. Tyler, you get sick days, use them. But I feel bad calling in sick when I'm not actually sick. They're called sick days, but they're mental health days. You're allowed to take them. And here's the key. Never explain in detail why you're out. Just say, I'm taking a sick day, I'll be back tomorrow. Don't give them ammunition to question whether you're really sick enough. My final day arrived. Tyler had spent 2 weeks absorbing everything I taught him. Technical skills, and more importantly, every single difficult habit I had. I'd created a mirror image of myself, a younger, less experienced version, who now believed that documentation is everything. Boundaries are non-negotiable. No is a complete sentence. Clients need to hear the truth, not what they want to hear. Management requests need to be questioned and analyzed. Proper work-life balance is a right, not a privilege. CYA in everything. Mark stopped by my desk on my last day. Jake, I wanted to thank you for training Tyler. You've been very thorough. Absolutely. I taught him everything I know. He's going to do this job exactly like I did it. Mark smiled. That's great, though hopefully with a bit more flexibility. Oh, he'll be flexible where it matters. He'll adapt to new situations, think creatively, solve complex problems. I made sure of that. What I didn't say, he'll also push back on unreasonable requests, refuse to work for free, and document every decision just like I did. Well, good luck in your next role, Mark said. Thanks. Good luck with the restructuring. I shook hands with my coworkers, packed my desk, and left. On my way out, I stopped by Tyler's desk. Remember everything I taught you, I said. I will. Thanks for everything, Jake. One last piece of advice. They're going to push you to work like two people. Don't. Do your job well, but don't kill yourself trying to replace 12 years of experience in 12 weeks. You're worth more than they're paying you. Tyler nodded seriously. Got it. I walked out of DataCore for the last time, wondering how long it would take for the chaos to start. I didn't have to wait long to hear about the fallout. I stayed in touch with a few former coworkers. They kept me updated. Month 1. Tyler was doing well technically. He was smart and he'd learned the systems, but he'd also learned everything else. Week 2. Tyler declined to work a Saturday on 2 days' notice, citing the need for proper scheduling and overtime compensation per company policy. Mark was not pleased. Week 3. A demanding client asked Tyler for a feature that didn't exist. Tyler explained in detail why it wasn't possible and suggested they contact sales for a custom development quote. The client complained to Mark that Tyler was not being helpful. Week 4. Tyler sent a 10-paragraph email to Mark, analyzing why a proposed improvement to the ticket system would actually slow down response times. Mark replied with one sentence, "Let's discuss this in person." Tyler replied, "I'd prefer to keep this discussion in writing for documentation purposes." My former coworkers reported that Mark looked like he was developing a stress disorder. Month 2. The issues accelerated. Tyler refused to answer tickets during his lunch break. Clients complained. Tyler started CCing multiple managers on conflicting priority requests, forcing them to sort it out. Managers complained. Tyler documented everything in exhaustive detail, creating a paper trail for every decision. Mark felt like he was under constant surveillance. Tyler questioned vague directives and asked for written clarification before proceeding. Projects moved slower. Tyler refused to work evenings and weekends without proper advance notice and overtime pay. Emergencies became expensive. Everything Tyler did was technically correct. Everything was professional. Everything was within policy. But Tyler was doing the job exactly like I'd done it, with boundaries, documentation, and zero tolerance for being taken advantage of. Mark had wanted someone who would do my job for half the price. What he got was someone who did my job exactly like I had, including all the parts that made Mark's life difficult. Month 3. One of my old coworkers, Sarah, called me. "Jake, you need to know what's happening here. It's chaos." "Tell me." "Tyler is driving Mark insane. He's technically good at the job, but he won't budge on anything. He documents everything, questions every request, refuses overtime without proper notice. He's like a miniature version of you. I trained him well." "Jake, did you do this on purpose?" I smiled. "I taught him to do the job professionally and protect himself from being exploited. If that's making management uncomfortable, maybe their expectations were the problem." Sarah laughed. "You're diabolical. Mark is complaining that he traded one difficult employee for another one. Except now he's paying half as much for the same headaches. They're talking about trying to fire Tyler." "On what grounds? Being too professional? Following company policy too carefully? Documenting everything?" "Exactly. They can't fire him without cause, and he hasn't done anything wrong. He's just..." "Yes. Exactly like you were. I guess they're stuck with him." Month 4. Things got worse for DataCore. 2 major clients left because they felt Tyler was not accommodating enough, which meant he wouldn't do free custom work or answer calls at midnight for non-emergencies. 3 complex tickets were escalated to management because Tyler refused to work weekends to resolve them faster, which meant he insisted on proper scheduling and compensation. The department's efficiency metrics dropped because Tyler spent time properly documenting issues instead of rushing through tickets. And Mark was getting heat from above because the cost savings from my departure weren't materializing. They were spending the difference on overtime pay, lost clients, and management time dealing with Tyler's rigid adherence to policy. I was 6 months after I left. My phone rang. It was Mark. "Jake, hey, how have you been?" I let the silence hang for a moment. "Mark, let me make sure I understand. You laid me off to save money, replaced me with someone cheaper, and now, 6 months later, you want me back at an even higher salary. Tyler is good technically, but he's difficult to work with. He won't work weekends. He documents everything. He pushes back on requests. It's creating friction." I almost laughed. "So you want someone who will do the job well, but won't stand up for themselves? That's not efficiency, Mark. That's exploitation." "That's not what I meant. Here's the thing. I like my new job. My boss respects my time. I get paid for overtime. I'm not expected to be available 24/7. I'm valued for my experience, not just tolerated until you find someone cheaper. We can match whatever they're paying you. It's not about the money anymore. You showed me how much you valued loyalty. 2 months severance after 12 years. So no, I won't be coming back." "What about Tyler? Can you at least come in and talk to him about being more flexible?" Now I did laugh. "Mark, I trained Tyler to do the job professionally and protect himself from being exploited. If that's a problem for you, maybe you should examine why you need employees who don't stand up for themselves." "So, that's a no?" "That's a hell no. But thanks for the call. It was very validating." I hung up. 5 minutes later, Tyler called me. "Dude, Mark just tried to get you to come back?" "He did." I declined. "Thank God. I was worried you'd take it, and I'd be out of a job." "You worried about your job?" "A little. I know I'm not making things easy for them." "Tyler, let me tell you something. You're doing the job correctly. You're protecting yourself and maintaining professional standards. If they don't like that, it's because they want someone they can take advantage of. Don't let them. But what if they fire me? Then you collect unemployment and find a company that values professionalism over pushover employees. But they won't fire you. You haven't done anything wrong. You're following every policy. You're just not letting them exploit you." Tyler was quiet for a moment. "Jake, did you train me this way on purpose? To make them regret letting you go?" I thought about how to answer that. "Tyler, I trained you to do the job well and to protect yourself. If that happens to make management uncomfortable, that's not on you or me. That's on them for having unreasonable expectations." That was a year ago. I'm still at my new company. Got promoted to lead technical specialist 6 months ago. Making $125,000 now, plus actual bonuses. My work-life balance is great. My boss respects boundaries. My experience is valued, not just tolerated. Tyler is still at DataCore. He's still driving Mark crazy, but he's too good at his job to fire and too expensive to replace again. Last I heard, they increased his salary to $65,000 to try to keep him happy. Still less than what I was making, but more than they initially wanted to pay. Mark finally learned an expensive lesson. You get what you pay for. And if you try to save money by replacing experienced employees with cheaper ones, you better make sure the cheaper ones don't learn to value themselves. Here's what I learned from this whole experience. Companies will take advantage of you if you let them. They'll squeeze every ounce of productivity out of you while paying you as little as possible. Your value isn't just in what you know. It's in your willingness to protect yourself. When Mike replaced me, he thought he was getting rid of an expensive, difficult employee. What he didn't realize was that I was difficult because I had standards. And when I taught Tyler to have those same standards, Tyler became difficult too. The problem was never me or Tyler. The problem was management expecting to exploit people's lack of experience and confidence. Tyler called me his mentor. I taught him technical skills, sure, but more importantly, I taught him that he's worth more than just being a warm body who says yes to everything. And if that made life harder for Mark, well, that's just karma doing its job. So, that's my story. The company that replaced me with someone cheaper learned that a person they hired would learn all the same bad habits that made me expensive, like self-respect and professional boundaries. If you enjoyed this malicious compliance story, hit that subscribe button. I post new workplace revenge and karma stories every single day. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been replaced at work? Or trained your replacement? How did you handle it? I want to hear your stories. And smash that notification bell so you never miss a satisfying revenge tale. Thanks for watching, and remember, your value includes your ability to say no. If a company can't handle that, they don't deserve you.